even if I have to drag your broken fucking carcasses over the finish line. We are going all the way, no matter the cost, till the job's fucking done.
So I just watched the series finale of The Boys that just came out today, or 3 a.m., whatever, time limit you're on. And I will say I was cautious and was ready for it to be disappointing because we had so many shows lately that ended on a stinker, that ended on a doo-doo garbage type of level, like Stranger Things. Everybody knows the infamous stuff that happened with Game of Thrones. Like, for some reason, these showrunners don't know how to end a show. And that's what everybody was afraid of when they watched The Boys. And people were valid because of the decisions they made throughout the season of The Boys. There's so much going on that was a waste of time. There's so many things that they focus on that didn't really matter at the end of it. But after seeing this series finale, right, I didn't think it was that bad. In fact, I think it ended appropriately with the way each character concluded their story. Now, let me just get to the negative before I get to my positive, because I have a lot of negatives that I need to get off my chest. The beginning of The Boys this season and the ending of The Boys this season were great. Like, I enjoyed seeing how it started and how it ended. It started off with them escaping from the camp. We see what Starlight is going through. We see Butcher is still feeling the effect of the powers that he got, and that the more he's alive, the more evil and unpredictable he is with the Supes and how much he hates them. And then we see A-Train and his development from being this character that everybody hated from the beginning, and how everything just started, with Huey and the boys, and how they, the Supes and the crew all are like intertwined now because of the accident that A-Train made and him being the asshole for the past 2 seasons, to now him being the actual hero and wanting to help people and not being so much of a jerk and finally standing up to Homelander. And then seeing this episode of him being reluctant to help Starlight at first because he was afraid that he was going to die, get killed, and that his family was going to get messed with. But A-Train did it anyway because he had to do what was right, and he wanted to be a hero. He was the actual hero of The Boys, which is ironic because of the things he's done. And then you see that the way he died was the way he killed Huey's girlfriend, because he didn't avoid Huey's girlfriend, he ran into her, right? It was crazy. Then he almost ran into somebody else, but avoided her, and then tripped in the woods, and then get caught by Homelander, and told to Homelander's face that you're pathetic, you're weak, you're not what your power is set out to be. Once you lose those powers, you're just useless, and then dies. And it ended with him being it ended with his conclusion of the story being heroic, and that was great. And I really enjoyed that first episode. Then throughout the season, it was just, nonsense after nonsense going on. At first, I let the showrunners develop what they had to develop, because there's a lot of pressure with making the season end on a high note, because of what I said before with other shows ending horribly, that they don't do the same. So we start off with the plot of the stuff that they had that poisoned the heroes, and I'm like, okay, cool. You finally got Soldier Boy coming back because of Homelander and wanted him to, be with his dad for real, but he ended up helping being a guinea pig to him. And then the crew trying to find a way to test these virals out of the poison to see if it works on Supes and it will kill them, and they actually did. And you're like, okay, cool, they finally found something that can kill Homelander, and now we can just start off with the battle. And then Soldier Boy ended up being alive, and then you find out, oh, he has the V1 in his body. Homelander's like, let's find the V1, let's see what's going on, so I'll be able to be immortal and then be a god. Which I'm like, that makes sense for his character, because all he wanted to do was feel loved by people and to be immortal so he can be alive once again. for the rest of his life. We get to the V1 stuff, you know, like the viral stuff. We just forget about it apparently, but it's like okay, whatever, because of the V1 stuff that happened. So we get to the V1 stuff. They find the V1 because of a character in Vault Rising later on called Bombsight, which I'm like, okay, all right, man, I see what they're going on with that. And here's my all right. Let me stop. Let me get to my point, and then I'll get to what's frustrating about it. So they finally found where V1's at, and it's from Bombsight. Sage, this whole time, is like trying to sabotage Homelander and Soldier Boy because she actually just wants to be alone, to read, and to just get rid of Homelander overall, because he knows he's a problem if he's still alive, and she won't get her peace. And so she helping the crew out, saying, yo, I don't want this crazy asshole getting these powers because it's gonna mess with me. So I'm helping y'all so y'all be able to destroy him. I get to wherever I need to get to hide and read and have nobody bother me. And so she does that. I know people are mad about this, but I think it actually makes sense, because just because you're very intelligent don't mean you look at, you know, simple stuff. Sometimes overthinking is our greatest enemy. And if you overthink, you don't think about the most simple stuff, which is what happened to her. And she made a mistake of trusting Soldier Boy to betray Homelander and to give the V1 to them, or just destroy it. But he doesn't do that. He ends up giving the V1 to Homelander, and then everything is like distraught. They all feel in despair and they don't know what to do. And then, right, the next episode, they decided, oh, let's make Kimiko the next Soldier Boy and just do the blast. And that's what they did this last episode. What's so frustrating is like they fight Homelander, right, in the Oval Office in this episode. You see Kimiko, you see Butcher, all of them is just trying to like code Homelander so that they'll be able to do the blast on him and he doesn't have powers. And that's what ends up happening, and that's how they defeat Homelander. At no point after those two episodes we see any difference between him not having the V1 to him having the V1. We didn't see him, you know, get hurt or nothing, and then, you know, regrow his body just like Soldier Boy did. It was just basically Homelander be Homelander. We did not need that V1 plot. I'm telling you, you didn't need it. The only reason they bought that plot here was to promote Vault Rising, and that's what pissed me off throughout the whole season. This was just a promotion of Vault Rising, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, we got Soldier Boy, they got Bombsight, they talking about Stormfront for some reason, that racist girl lady. Like, all this is promotion, and that wasted so much time with what we actually needed with this season. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, they canceled Gen V, they don't need Marie and Jordan, but y'all put them in the show anyway. Y'all already showed them, so why not make them a big part of the plot? Also, Ryan had one scene, well, had like a little bit of a plot in there, because Butcher asked him, yo, I need you to distract Homelander so I can put the V1 on him. And then after that didn't work, Ryan's just like, yo, I'm just gonna fight my dad. And then get beats up by Homelander eventually. And we never see him again until this last episode, which he eventually helped out because it was Ryan, Butcher, and Kimiko. But Ryan just came out of nowhere and didn't like become part of the crew, nothing. Like, Butcher didn't think like, oh, you know what? Ryan has recovered. Maybe I should just use him. Man, we could have had time with Ryan. We could have had so much time with Starlight a little bit more. We could have had so much time with Mother's Milk and his relationship with his family. Like, there was so many opportunities where whatever is the big connection to the main plot, which is just them defeating Homelander, it would make sense. But nah, this was just a promotion, because you didn't see any effect with the V1 whatsoever. This is just to promote Vault Rising. The boys became what they critiqued from the very beginning. They became Disney. they became, the spin-offs, Easter eggs, universe, all that shit. Like, that was crazy, bro. That's what frustrated me the most. And it ended up having a good conclusion to the story. Like, they have a good A to Z, but every other alphabet in that joint was just mixed up. Like, it was C, D, E, G. It was mixed up all around. So I'm just sitting here like, man, this was just a wasted opportunity throughout, this season where everything could have made sense. But I'm just like, all right, whatever, man. Whatever happens in the end happens. But I'm glad that they ended on like a good note and not like anything worse than what I was thinking it would happen. The positive parts I will say was the ending of this episode today. Everybody had a really good conclusion, and it made sense, and it was very satisfactory. Homelander ended up dying like a bitch because he is pathetic. He is, a baby, and I get it. Like, oh my God, Homelander didn't even get a chance to show off his powers, which is what I was upset about a little bit, especially the fact that we, I already been negative with this, but the fact that we was so focused on the V1 that it didn't even matter at the end. But I did like that he ended up looking like a loser after everything that he has done throughout these 5 seasons, destroying the airplane, killing innocent people, making people feel like shit, thinking he all that when he not. It was so satisfactory, and Anthony Starr played it so well, especially after the blast. You just see him get up, and he was trying to like laser beam Butcher, but he wasn't able to, and you could see the look on his face like, fuck! Like, he was so scared. And then he tried to jump up like, he's like, I was cracking the fuck up, bro. That shit was hilarious, because you can see on his face like, I'm fucked, man. I'm getting messed up. This bro don't have no fighting skills whatsoever, no boxing, nothing. He just rely on his superpowers. And Butcher just messed him up. And then the funniest part about this, right? He was begging and pleading. He was like, please, please don't kill me. He was like that. He was like that episode, that movie from Don't Be a Menace. He was like, yo, I suck your dick, please, I eat shit. End up getting killed anyway. I was like, boy, that's what you get, man. But I'm going to miss Anthony Starr, man. He is a great actor. Homelander is a meme farmer, like an elite meme farmer, and I'm going to miss him doing that. And I have all the photos that he did the memes on. That was funny. Yeah, Karl Urban played this role well. He had a good conclusion because you think, oh, I defeated Homelander, everything is cool. But then he probably had the most saddest conclusion out of everybody. First off, I hate seeing animals die, including dogs, because I'm like, man, that's kind of sad. His dog Terror dies after he celebrates with his team destroying Homelander. Before that, you would think, oh, I can finally talk to Ryan, and then we could be a family again and just move on out of here. Ryan wasn't with that, because even though like Homelander did stuff to his mom, that's still his dad at the end of the day. And Butcher is just as much of a monster as Homelander because of the things he's done. He killed so many people. And if you look at it from a different perspective, he is Homelander. And so after seeing Ryan reject him, after seeing his dog die, the only option he has is to kill all the Supes and using the viral poison that they finally brought back to use and just destroy everybody. And then it makes sense that Huey will be the one to kill him, and that Butcher stops himself by seeing his younger brother that he remembered from the flashback that we've seen from previous seasons, and was like, damn, I can't do it. And then ends up getting killed by Huey. It's like, oh man, that's sad. That was like a great conclusion for Butcher. And Karl Urban was playing that role great. and I'm gonna miss him playing that role too. We see Huey and Starlight having a family now. Starlight's pregnant. Also, Starlight still had power, so they had their own little business going on. The president of the United States after that was like, yo, I got a team that I want to start making to hold these soups accountable. And he was like, nah, I got my own business. And then, Starlight and them having their own business, Starlight being pregnant. And he's like, oh, they having a whole family, so that was cool. You got Mother's Milk back with his family. The reason why I'm upset, I'm like a little annoyed by that, was because we didn't see him at any point try to like talk to him or have any contact with him saying, yo, this won't be my last time. They don't need to have that, but it would have been nice, to see him look at the picture or something. So you can be like, oh, okay. Now he's with his family. I'm like, all right. He talked about a little bit, but I need a little bit more of that. So, yeah. And then Ryan ends up being with that family. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. He with a black family now. Yeah, he's going to do good. He's going to do good. Then Kimiko ended up traveling to France or whatever they were, her and Frenchie was talking about. And she's eating in the dinner place they was talking about, thinking about Frenchie. She had like a bittersweet ending. But, ended up happy. And that was basically the conclusion to all the characters. Oh yeah, by the way, Ashley tried to be the president a little bit, saying, no, I will not leave. I'm going to be where I'm at and become the president of the United States. It ended up being a minute or two of her being president and then leaving and being rejected, which was funny as hell. So overall, really, I really enjoyed this last episode. It just frustrated me that we had to try so hard, that we had to do so many difficult things to get to this point. And I wish it could have been better in the middle part, so the A and B the A to Z can be stronger, and that this ending probably would have hit harder if the middle part was really good. But I'm glad that it didn't end up really bad. It's not like Stranger Things ending. It's not like the Game of Thrones ending. This was actually, I would say, safe, because they could have done a little bit more. But I'd rather they just be safe at this point and just conclude it on a good note. So I'm glad they did that. And yeah, that's basically my feelings on the season of The Boys and the ending overall. I don't know how Vault Rising going to do. I'd rather they try to do season 3 a Gen V and then make it like the next generation. But I guess because people didn't watch season 2, they was like, let's just try something else. And also, Soulja Boy's getting a lot of hype, so let's just try that. But it is what it is. I'm going Miss Marie so bad. Fuck. Yeah, I'm kind of upset with that. But that's my review and feelings on this ending of The Boys, and I hope to see y'all later. All right, y'all. Peace.